Good morning and welcome to my NaNoWriMo 2019 Week 4 vlog. It is day 20 of NaNoWriMo and I have to go ahead and get up and get showered and get ready for work. I think that afterward I will go to my second and probably last write-in in person with the DC Rhymos at Panera. I believe it's an event that can be well attended, even though the event online doesn't have any other sign-ups. I think that there's a large in-person group that still wants to meet anyway. I think people pay less attention to the website this late in the game, especially this year when the site is so unpopular. I'll be curious to see what changes might come after this big experiment of the new site. But in the meantime, I know Nano is kind of sort of winding down. There's fewer people now than there was a couple weeks ago. But I do think I will run into some stalwart writers tonight. I will let you know. I'm also hoping I don't have a repeat of the gastrological issues I had at Panera 2 weeks ago, but TMI. Good evening! It is day 21 of NaNoWriMo. I've recently returned from work. My most recent drama seems to be that I might be at the very beginning of a cold, maybe? One of the women at work, one of my colleagues, has a cold right now, but hers seems kind of bad, but we just came back from a week of furlough, so I figure she doesn't want to take the time off. So I don't know, it's weird, and I've been taking my Zicam, but I feel like my body's flirting with it a little bit, like, you know, a little cough here or there, or a little stuffiness here or there, but nothing full-fledged or anything. I'm also a little bit groggy, but that might be due to Nano, or maybe even just regular sleeping habits. In happier news, I just got this card in the mail from my parents. It's a book card. It has a quote from Alice Hoffman. She's written a lot of books, but a few years ago I read The Dove Keepers, which was my favorite, I think, of 2015. Anyway, it's a support card really about NaNoWriMo and about my writing and my blogging, they say. And my mom ends it with, "Don't care if those Goomba publishers don't recognize a good novella when it comes their way," which seems a little defeatist to me because I'm not actually sending the novella out to publishers until next year. I have gotten a couple short story rejections recently, though. But ah well, it's time to return to first draft, get as many words out as you can for Nano Land, and I'm going to return to the virtual write-ins as I do, and the other day the interns were back on the NaNoWriMo page, you know, doing their stuff, so I'll stick with them.
And then one of the questions that I have that I would love to ask people in addition to this is, what does success mean to you? So, to me, success basically means accomplishing something related to a goal that you have. So, for example, if you have, I don't know, a 50,000 word goal for a writing challenge that you're taking part in this year for an entire month, and you only get 10,000 words down, that's still definitely a success, because no matter what you achieved the writing goal, you got yourself to go out of your way to actually put down words on a piece of paper and start something that you later could finish and develop into a really nice story. So I think that success doesn't necessarily mean finishing the task. I think it means pushing yourself towards the goal that you're trying to achieve and actually doing something about it.
I think success for me is just like the establishing of habits. I guess that's all I have to say about that. I think as long as you write more consistently than you usually do, and I would like it if people sustain that more consistent writing schedule past November, but I guess you don't have to.
That's true.
But if I think success is kind of altering how you approach writing, so thinking of it more as habit, as kind of a constant practice rather than something
Like temporary,
well,
rather than something temporary.
I was gonna the opposite one, rather than something like a solitary goal that you achieve. Well, I've written a short story, I've written a novel. It's like I think that thinking about it in terms of like I am always writing something and I'm always putting words to the page. It's a more healthy way of looking at it.
For sure. I agree.
Good morning. It is day 22 of NaNoWriMo. I feel like I hit a little bit of a snag last night. I certainly didn't write as much as I wanted to. Maybe I'm doing those bad things people tell me not to do about letting fear get in the way of writing. I was just constantly second-guessing myself a bit. So, I thought I might take another suggestion to heart and change up my writing form for a little while. I usually don't try to write too much in notebooks because after all, then there's all that time of having to retype it up. But I thought maybe if I get away from that primary mode of doing things that I've been doing things with, that if I took a notebook to work and wasn't as distracted by other things like the internet, that maybe I could see if I could get something jump-started again. Also, I have to admit it will be easier to take, paper and pen to work in a notebook rather than the computer. Good morning. It is day 23 of Nano. We have reached a weekend, Missy and I, but perhaps to my detriment, I did make some plans. A group of friends is meeting for a semi-annual ladies' brunch in Virginia, of all places. Most of them are from there, and they've picked a place at the tail end of public transportation for us to meet. That being said, in the same neighborhood as our lunch or brunch spot is the Shirlington branch of the Arlington, Virginia Library. So I'm hoping and planning to go there afterwards and get some writing done. Today is also the day of my county's annual Thanksgiving parade, which marches right past my door, so I guess I gotta get moving and get out of here. Good afternoon. It is day 24 of NaNoWriMo. Having a little bit of a slow start today, I guess. I actually went out this morning to see Frozen 2. I'm a fan of that story, and also I needed something to write about for my final NaNoWriMo post, so NaNoRebel to the rescue. That being said, one of the songs in particular made me start thinking again about upcoming developments in my fantasy project, A Song of the Wanderers. I guess either way it's a good thing. Either it actually works, or you're thinking about it so much that you're going to keep writing anyway. I think what I'm learning is when it comes to this rough draft, basically anything goes. Future Rachel might have trouble parsing it out, we'll see. At least the outline is keeping me somewhat on track. Anyway, I'm still suffering some coldy side effects. but I figured I might just go right down the street to my local coffee place and maybe sit down, grab something to eat, and get some words out. Good evening. It is day 25 of NaNoWriMo. We have only 5 days left, and I have a new setup going on over here. Actually, that big white thing over there is where I usually set the camera in this room. But I'm just relaxing here with Missy for a little while, but I can't do that for too long because I still have some words to write before this thing is over. So I've recently returned from work, and I feel like I'm going to go ahead and look for some virtual write-ins. I feel like they've been helping me get my inspiration going with the words. So hopefully my companion will stay with me. I have this nice thing to set my computer on, and let's get going. Good evening! It is day 26 of NaNoWriMo. I've recently returned from work and placed my camera on my makeshift tripod of the white box I showed you last night. I do think it gives a nice view of these bookshelves. Anyhoodle, this is the part of the video where for the last few weeks I've returned to the virtual write-ins, particularly those put out by the AuthorTube community. AuthorTube puts out a lot of virtual write-ins in November, and in fact I found plenty of new faces this month. But in terms of showing clips on this channel, I've mostly been sticking with By the Brook. I don't believe she was taking part in any last week, but she's back this week. In fact, I think she's recording one right now, but I'm going to go to her most recently recorded one from a couple of days ago that she did with Kate Kavanaugh and Becca C. Smith. Two people I haven't showed on my own channel, so I'm kind of excited, you know, get some new blood in here, get some fresh ideas. You know, we need that jolt for the last couple days of Nano, I think.
I am curious if there's people who go to like their state's writers conventions. I don't know like what all states in the US have that, but Oklahoma has one and I'm wanting to go. I've never been to it because it's always like in a busy time for me. But I want to really try and go this year. I think it'd be fun.
I think that would be so fun. I've never been to, I've done like a lot of book festivals as a book fan, but I haven't done any like author or writer conferences, and I was following the Courtney Project over on Instagram and watching all of her like her note taking at like the romance writers or whatever.
Yeah.
That, and I was just like, I want to go so bad. I want to meet other writers in person.
Man, I mean, okay, anyone who's watching in the comments, like, it's so, like, it's just a game changer whenever you, like, meet other writers in person. Because I know a lot of people, they don't really have many people in their lives who are fellow writers and stuff. It really is such a game changer to, like, have someone who's kind of somewhat, like, who gets it. Because it really, because, I mean, also, like the more you hang out with people or the more you talk to people who are into certain things, then you feel like you're more into certain things. So the more I'm in AuthorTube, the more like writing is like, it's like my life, I feel like sometimes. And stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I just feel like it's such a game changer if you put yourself around people who have a love for writing as well, because I feel like it just makes it to where you're even more driven. Same thing with Instagram stories and posts of people who you might follow. It's like they're always inspiring to help you write more. So I feel like in your life possibly who are like that, it's just more of a game changer there for too. Oh, Emily, I went to a writer con in Melbourne. I loved it. Yay! Is Melbourne in Australia? I don't know.
Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. I am wrapping up my NaNoWriMo 2019 week 4 vlog. And I feel like a bit of a fraud after that last clip I spoke about, because one of the people in the write-it I showed, Becca, had computer problems, so she wasn't there. So Brooke and Kate also weren't talking specifically about NaNoWriMo in the clip I showed either, but they were making me think of my own state's annual writing conference, which happens in March every year. And in fact, if I want to go, I'll have to apply in December if I'd like to get the early bird rate, which also means I have to renew my membership. I'm thinking about it because actually it only takes place during a weekend this year, so I wouldn't have to miss work, and it's in College Park, which is very close to me, so it's very enticing. It does seem like a good time to start thinking about writing goals that extend beyond NaNoWriMo, because that's the place I'm in now. When I started NaNoWriMo, I think I talked about this in my NaNoWriMo tag, I was just trying to get back into writing for myself, and I wasn't doing a lot of that for a while outside of NaNoWriMo, but now this is just part of, you know, my writing portfolio, my annual writing portfolio, albeit the biggest part, I guess, or certainly the most dramatic with the most flair. So I have a couple more chapters I want to get to in these last remaining days in A Song of the Wanderers, my fantasy project. In the last one in particular, I feel like I did a lot of sort of passive narrative stuff that I'll have to turn into more action scenes or dialogue scenes. It just didn't come to me naturally in the moment, and right now I just feel like I need to write what's coming naturally and first for me, because just gotta get those words out. And luckily I think it's still connected to what I think will be my next draft, that I won't completely be gutting it, it's just that I'll have to be reworking it. So that's kind of exciting for me, really, that you know, it's not just going to be a complete overhaul, that some of what I'm writing, even though it won't be in the form it's in, is the foundation, certainly the foundation of what will come in the next draft. So yeah, I guess that's where I am now. I guess I should also say I think I'm pretty much over the coldy symptoms I had just in time for Thanksgiving in the US. Really weird to be celebrating that during the finale of Nano. I'll be filming about that in my next and final video. It'll be interesting times, I guess. In the meantime, congratulations to everyone so far who has won Nano. You all rock. Everyone who's done this rocks. You know, it's part of the narrative, I know, that everybody says, you know, no matter how far you get in Nano, you rock for trying and you rock for making progress. But it's true, because it's factually true. When you sit down and work on a project to any degree, then you're further along than you used to be, so use the impetus you have. I mean, some people on my Voxer were talking about, even though they're not going to get to the 50K, they have made major progress in their works, and it's just very exciting to hear that as well. Especially when someone ends up writing a novella, since I've ended up writing novellas for Nano. But anyway, I guess thank you so much for watching. Keep writing, everyone. And I'll see you next time.